So now we're looking at volume of solids. So the volume is the amount of the cubic unit it takes to fill the solid. Okay, we're going to be looking at the volume for prisms and cylinders is big B times H, which this capital B stands for the area of the base and then multiplied by the height of the prism or cylinder. Okay, so let's first look at a rectangular prism. Okay, that with a rectangular prism, that again looking at our volume being the area of the base times the height, that remember with the rectangular prism that base is a rectangle. So to find the area of a rectangle, which is our base, it would be length times width. So you would have length times width times height. So that's another way to write the volume formula just for a rectangular prism. Okay? We're going to start by figuring out the volume of this rectangular prism. We're going to look at it with actual cubes and then we'll come back and work on it like this. So here I have a rectangular prism all filled up. So when we're finding the volume, we're wanting to figure out how many cubic units will fill that shape. So this, one of these little squares, is a cubic centimeter because each edge is 1 centimeter. So when I would take 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter, I would get 1 centimeter cubed because centimeter times centimeter times centimeter. So if I look at my rectangular prism, okay, that if we look at the bottom, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 centimeters here, 4 centimeters here would be its length and width of the bottom. So overall it takes me 24 of these squares to just cover the bottom. Okay, so the area of the bottom would be 24 square centimeters because there's 24 little squares here if you would count that. Now to find the volume though, I now add my height to that. So remember, on this bottom layer there were 24 cubes, okay? So if we count, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. Each layer has 24 cubes in it. So that means, in all, I have 24 times 5 layers. So there are 120 cubes filling up this shape, okay, this rectangular prism. So its volume would be 120 cubic centimeters because it takes 24 of the cubic centimeters, 120 of them, to fill that up. Alright, so now let's work it out instead of actually filling it up with cubes. So that again, I'm going to use the general volume formula, okay, because that's usually a little easier to remember, because sometimes you may not have the formula given to you. So the volume is area of the base times the height. So I'm going to come over here and figure out what my capital B, my big B is. Well, with a rectangular prism, this base is a rectangle. So I want to find the area of that rectangle, which is length times width. So if we think of this bottom rectangle, what it's sitting on, as being our base, that it would be 6 by 4. Okay, that's its length and width. So the area of that base would be 6 times 4, which gives us 24 square centimeters, because 6 centimeters times 4 centimeters would be 24 square centimeters. Now, I'm going to take this and put it back up in this equation for my capital B, because this was the area of the base. So now my volume is going to be this 24 square centimeters times the height of my prism. So sitting on that rectangle, how much does it go up? Well, in this case it goes up 5. So I want 24 times 5. So when you do that, you get the 120, and it is cubic centimeters. And that's how many squares we got. Now let's look at a cube. I want you to pause the video and work this one out. Then I'll check it with you, okay? So we're looking at this cube. So there's a couple different ways to do this. You can go ahead and put in your volume formula, okay? So volume is the area of the base times the height. So for my base, it's a square, okay? This bottom square is going to be 7 by 7. So the area of that base is 49 cubic centimeters. Putting that back up here for my volume, my area of my base was 49. Then I want to multiply it by the height. Well, this is 7 too. 7 as well, sorry. Then, taking 49 times 7, I get 343, and that would be centimeters cubed. Another way you could have done this is thinking back to that the volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height. That with a cube, all of those are the same. So it could just be 7 times 7 times 7, or 7 cubed, which would still give you the same number.